Hey, you guys, my name is Steve Hoffa. Thank you so much for tuning in on this podcast highlight. Technology and safety in the construction field, kind of back then versus now and how it's changed and maybe where it's going. This is the Standing Still Podcast. 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 What do you think this new generation, what do you think where it's like they really have something to offer that your generation doesn't coming in? You know what I mean? Like, what do we thrive on? You know, obviously there's a lot of similarities where it's like it doesn't matter what decade it is. Like, you have to work hard to get somewhere. You know what I mean? There's stuff like that that's going to be timeless for sure. You guys are thinking really hard, I could tell, and you guys are coming up with a lot of empty answers like, well, I don't know.
I got answers. You're probably going to like them.
I mean, technology. I mean, honestly,
yeah.
I
was thinking that.
You know, being out in the field and the computer world, it never paid the bills.
Right.
And now everything, you know, that the world works now in the construction world, it's all going to computers.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You know, from, you know, the days back when you'd wear a safety belt was basically a belt with a rope tied to it, to now it's a full harness with lanyards and all kinds of crazy stuff. And you got to have engineered plans. And the world's gotten safer through technology, but it's also gotten slower through technology in certain ways.
Yep.
You know what I mean? The simple thing of, you know, going up 10 feet on a ladder and swapping out a head sprinkler pipe. Well, what's your safety plan? You know, how are you going to do this? I mean, how are you going to be safe? I think you should use a lift. Is it safe? Well, it's safe for that guy who does it every day.
Right.
But in the same sentence as, you know, it could be one day where he has a bad day and falls and gets hurt.
Right.
You know what I mean? So now they're trying to prevent all that. But like the whole technology of coming in with these computers, I have a tough time struggling with all the computers because I work in the office as well as in the field. So, you know, some of these things that they get around now, it's like, okay, you know, where do you put all this?
Right, right. Yeah, iPads have pretty much, they're everywhere in the field. You see guys all the time walking around with iPads because you can zoom in on the plans and blah, 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 blah. You can walk around with it.
Before you carried these big-ass prints.
Right.
You had all kinds of them.
Yeah, you don't want to spill anything on it, and you're sitting there squaring it, like trying to read the little tiny print.
We didn't fax anything. We went to a pay phone to call or a house phone.
Right.
We used to work really cool. We got pagers.
Yeah.
Those were really cool.
I dream of the day of living through the pager era, let me tell you.
Nobody cared where we were. I didn't have to check in anywhere.
Right.
Nowadays, and I'm curious if this is different from you, because there's a lot of different safety personnel where their whole job is just to walk around and look for stuff that's unsafe. I think that's been going around for a long time. It's always been safety people. But like you said, it's stricter and more stringent now more than ever. How frustrating is it that there's guys, let's say you're on a ladder and you're above 6 feet, and above 6 feet you're supposed to be tied off or something like that, you know, whatever the job is. They don't say anything. They just take a picture, and then the next day you're getting chewed out because they emailed a picture of you on a ladder 7 steps up. You know what I mean? Yes. That's kind of the world. There is no like, hey, man, I really care about you. Can you please step down? It's just, I'm doing my job. Here's a picture, and I'll email it through the system.
Oh, they're justifying their job is all they're doing.
Right.
See something, say something.
Yeah.
That's the motto they say
right
on the job sites. If you see somebody doing something unsafe, say something. You know, because you're just as responsible as the guy making that mistake.
Yeah, I mean, and looking at the bigger picture, everything's insurance driven.
Right.
I mean, if you start having accidents on the job, then we'll call it insurance rating for the sake of argument, goes up, and then you have to pay that premium. So now you're competing against somebody. Your premiums are higher. Somebody's got to pay for that cost. So that's what it's all about.
And you can't even bid on jobs if you get too high.
Right.
Yes.
And that's all it is.
You can't work in certain areas if you don't have a percentage rating of low enough percentage rating of injuries. You know.
Right. Right.
And
isn't it crazy? I'm sure you guys have heard of this because you guys are way smarter. Carl, honors, graduating a semester early.
I did too, by the way. I did have honors. I'm serious.
We'll sweep that under the rug, Bill.
Yeah,
that's no problem.
He went to La Habra, though. Like, how tough was that? You speak English?
Okay, you're good. Here you go.
Honors.
Here's your diploma.
Hey, I colored inside the lines. Come on.